Hey everyone, I'm Heather Vitale for Harness Racing Update. It is the final day of the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale, and although I have had such a blast telling you guys about all of these beautiful horses and meeting new people and, just talking and talking and talking, you might be able to tell I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. However, as they say, the show must go on. So before we get to the highlights, well, we're going to get to know one of the most popular people at the sale. If you have been to the Lexington or Harrisburg sale, there's a 99.9% chance that you have met Lillie. She is here to keep the horsemen and women refreshed as they look at horses, and smiles on people's faces here at Preferred Equine. But she's not just another pretty face. No. Now, Lillie, I know that you are retired right now, but you come out of retirement to do the sales.
Correct.
But you have a really long history in harness racing and administration. So let's hear about your journey.
Okay, 1987, I joined staff at Meadowlands Racetrack in the publicity office. And I stayed there until 1999 when I resigned, and then I started work with Dave Reid. And henceforth, I'm still with Dave Reid. So, but I did retire in 2018 from the office, but Dave did not let me retire from the sales. So I'm still here doing my due, being me.
And we love you. That's why I have you on this feature for day 5, because
I do have to say one thing. Heather, I love Heather. Heather was my intern at Meadowlands Racetrack. When first job interning out of college, she came to stay with us at Meadowlands Racetrack in the publicity office. Mm-hmm. And she learned all these skills that you see her portraying right now.
Oh my gosh, wow. Thank you. Yeah, it's so funny. So it's 1994, the summer of 1994, just graduated college. And Lillie ended up being my second mom. I would come into the publicity office and she's like, girl, you have no pantyhose on. Get some pantyhose, Ladies wear pantyhose. Well, I still do not wear pantyhose to this day, so that lets you know a little something. Oh my gosh, great times.
It was fun.
It was. So when you come to the sale, actually, other than me, who do you love to see? Anybody in particular?
Well, honestly, I have so many people that I just really love seeing. I can't actually put a name to everyone. So everyone that I have been associated with through all of these years, I met lots of these people when I was at Meadowlands Racetrack before I started with Dave. And then with Dave, of course, I've gotten to become a little bit more intimate with them and get to know them better. And this is what I look forward to seeing them, getting a hug. We chit-chat, give them some cappuccino or maybe a little wine, They said, you going to have a drink with us? I said, of course, that's my job.
I had no idea she had wine here. You learned something. What? Talking about Dave, you're kind of a big deal now because Dave did have a sign made for you, I don't know, about a year or so ago. What's it like working with Dave? And he will be watching this, so choose your words wisely.
Oh, Dave Reid. No, honestly, I love Dave. And if it wasn't Dave, I would not be here, seriously. Because when I retired because I was sick. And they was like, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I said, Dave, it's okay. And he said, you retiring? I said, yeah. But I still get the salespeople for you. He said, but are you still going to work the sales? I was like, oh, sure, Dave. And Dave Reid, I swear, Dave, people who don't really truly know Dave has a heart of gold. He does. He has a heart of gold, and I love him. He's been very good to me. He's been very good to my family. He hired my grandson, actually. He works in the office with Dave now, and he is just, Dave is a love. He's a little intense, but, it's okay. He has to be intense, and most of the time, I just blasé right along with him and let him roll on. I was like, okay, Dave has he's a little stressed today, so I'm going to stay out of the way,
We also love Dave at HRU, absolutely. And yeah, the retirement deal. So where do you live? And what are you doing?
I live in Georgia, Warner Robins. I am a hostess at an Italian restaurant in Warner Robins. I'll tell you the name of the restaurant in case you guys ever want to come stop by. It is Fresco Italiano, and we are located at 1208 Russell Parkway in Warner Robins, Georgia, and the food is absolutely fantastic. Come on down, I'll get you a good seat.
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad that you did this. And Lillie told me she would have only done this for me.
Exactly.
So if you want to be interviewing Lillie, anybody else that's out there, it's not happening. I got it.
Yeah.
It's my interview.
Yeah, Heather's my girl. I'm her. What do you mean? I'm your black mom.
That is true. That's what that now Lillie is the one that came up with that, and I absolutely love it. I have a white mom, of course, Joanne Looney King, and I have a black mom. So there you go. Oh my God, I love you so much. Thank you for doing this.
It's my pleasure, Heather.
Now it's time to check out some yearlings. We are up to hip number 805 for this fifth and final session of the auction, with a major part of Friday's section of the sales book focused on Ohio and Indiana bred. And to no one's surprise, the super stallion down by the seaside didn't take long to make an impression. Malibu Barbie Deo, hip number 810, consigned by Preferred Equine, passed through the ring, bringing $150,000, and the filly was purchased by Odds On Racing. Among several six-digit priced yearlings from this down by the seaside crop was hip number 851. From the All-American Harness Breds consignment, a colt named Sweet Wave was bought by Jody Scalacci for $145,000. Speaking of down by the seaside, visitors at Fasig-Tipton enjoyed a pre-sale soiree at the Diamond Creek consignment with a beachy theme complete with margaritas and music to celebrate the Ohio Stallion. Hanging out with Joe McLead at the Down by the Seaside party. Now, before we get into your connection with Down by the Seaside and with Diamond Creek, I want to get some history on Sugar Valley Farm.
Sugar Valley Farm was established by my grandfather in 1968 in Delaware, Ohio, and it was never really a commercial breeding farm. He was a veterinarian and provided services to everybody in our county, and excuse me, and he stood a stallion by the name of Sugar Tree after a certain amount of time, and never commercial, and was able to produce a world champion by the name of Saccharum that is actually to this day the only mare to ever win the Billy Hop Memorial. And that was when it raced at Yonkers still. And she did that in probably 1988, so it dates back a little bit on her. But I worked for Winback Farm and became their general manager, and then we had our son, my wife Patty and I had our son, and we decided after a year to move back home, and I sold pharmaceuticals for a few years to equine vets, and then when the possibility of slots started coming to the state, everybody from out east that I knew through Winback started calling and saying, where do we stand our studs in Ohio? And my uncle he used to train 50, 60 head and was a top driver at Scioto Downs for a while, and I said to him, I said, hey, you're only training about 5 or 10 now. You want to kind of retire from that and start a breeding farm? And he said, absolutely not. And then about 2 months later, he said, hey, I thought about your idea. He goes, why don't we give it a shot? So we did, and we started off with the generosity of George Teague, a great friend of mine, said, hey, I got 2 for you. Let's give it a shot. I'll send you those 2. And David Heffering from Terra Hills in Canada sent me 1, and we started off with 4 that year. I bought 1 myself with by the name of Woodstock, and we started off in 2012 with our first breeding season, and the rest is history. With where we're at now, I got to give a tremendous amount of kudos and respect to a person that is now one of my very close friends in Adam Bowden, and he called and said, Joe, you've been very persistent. I think I want to do business with you, and that's when we started with Down by the Seaside.
Yeah, so how does that work? So down by the seaside, lives at Sugar Valley? Like, give me the logistics because
So-
I'm not really in the breeding business.
Right. So down by the seaside lives with me for about 6 months of the year. And then he goes into quarantine and heads to Kentucky for 30 days of quarantine. And then they go from there to New Zealand. And he stands in New Zealand for 5 months, 6 months. And then he comes back, and it's just a cycle that he does. And he's really become accustomed to what his routine is, and he breeds champions on that side of the pond and this side, and it's a great experience.
Tonight is a big night for Ohio, and you have a few stallions that have foals that are going through the ring, right?
Yeah, tonight we have Lather Up with a couple. I think he has 6 in the sale tonight. One in our consignment here through Diamond Creek, and then we have Catch a Fire has 1 in here, which Catch a Fire's had a tremendous year with his first crop, and we were very cautious with him his first year at stud, which is this first crop that's racing this year. He raced and bred that first year, and so we limited his first crop to let him just adjust into what things were, and we've been quite pleased with the way his offspring have performed, as well as Lather Up, and down by the seaside obviously is just that horse. He's a son of Sun Beach somewhere. And Sun Beach, unfortunately, had a short life. But what the stamp that he's made on our industry is maybe the best ever as time goes on. And we can even start throwing him in that conversation right now as a sire of sires. And down by the seaside had all the attributes: speed at 2, speed at 3, carried himself through, was never really a lame horse at any time. And his personality, he knows he's the man in a way. As do a lot of stallions, and they've proven themselves on the track, and then the ultimate goal for them is they get to retire and enjoy themselves for the rest of their lives. But down by Seaside just had every attribute that checked every box. The first crop of his that you saw when they hit the ground, they were just everything and looked like their grandfather.
I love learning in my interviews. I'm going to go let you, get back to the party here in a second. But I do want to tell you, we have something in common, I believe. I went to school to be a meteorologist, and you actually want to be a weather person, right?
Interesting that you're bringing that up. So it's a little back history on me. I was at Ohio State my freshman year and just kind of struggling to figure out who I was. And so I decided to join the Navy. Everybody in my family had been in the Army or Navy or whichever from drafts, or, that's the way it was back then. And I joined the Navy, and I decided, doing all the tests and everything, I chose everything. And my father was a air traffic controller in the Navy during Vietnam. He never had to go over there, but he was a respected air traffic controller. And when he got out, he said it was too much stress. There was no way he wanted to do that. So he got in the insurance business. So when I joined the Navy, I decided to go the meteorology route, and they're called orographer's mates. But the interesting part of that story of me being a meteorologist and joining the Navy, there's a thing called in living humor and uniform humor in Reader's Digest. And everybody always said, Joe, you need to do that, because when I was born, I had any belly button, everything looked normal. But in 8th grade, I started having some bleeding from my belly button. And it's a thing called an omphalomesenteric duct, and not many people get that. I think I'm maybe the only person that has ever been discharged from the Navy because of a naval discharge.
That's great. That's great.
But
Thank
back
you.
to your meteorology
Yeah.
question, we should have maybe, the horse business is very tough, and it's a lot of stress, and it's very rewarding at times, but then there's also those times, it's like a roller coaster. But we should have been meteorologists, because all we have to do is say tonight's forecast is dark.
Right. That would be, and we'd be right, and no one would be upset at us.
No,
so,
I don't believe
yeah.
so. I don't believe so.
Oh my God. Thank you, Joe, for hanging out with me. That was a really great interview.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
On the trotting side, hip number 908, Southwind Bismarck, a colt by Ohio Sire in range, saw a $100,000 price. Consigned by Preferred Equine. The trotter was signed for by Martinez Equine. And we don't want to overlook the Indiana Sire Swan for All, who also showed up with an impressively priced yearling. Hip number 870, a trotting filly named Spoil Me Silly, consigned by Kentuckiana Farms, was bought for $160,000 by M&L of Delaware. Well, Dave, this sale has ended, which is actually a good thing because my voice has, I think, just gone down by the seaside. And speaking of that sire, of course, he was in the spotlight tonight.
Yeah, sold very well, and as he always does. And he's a force nationwide, but he's a doubly a strong force in Ohio. And they showed it tonight. And they sold well, and he throws up a nice horse, and it's proven on the track. So it's a good combination.
So what are your feelings about tonight and then, of course, the sale overall?
Yeah, no. Tonight was strong. Average was 33, 32, somewhere right around there like it has been the last 3 or 4 years. Very consistent. And for the overall sale, second highest average in the history of our sale was just a shade over 73, I think it was. So overall, it was a long week. Lose my voice as well. But we cut back a little bit. I think we sold around 906 horses this year. So to really try to focus on, trying to please everybody, breeders, the buyers. I think we did a good job, Bruce and myself and our whole sales team. It takes a lot of work, and we talk about it at the year of the conclusion. It's a year-round process, and a lot of energy here tonight. The Buckeyes came down and had a great crowd, and I thought it was a successful night and a successful week for sure.
Earlier in this segment, I interviewed Lillie, and she said some very complimentary things about you. So if you want to return the favor, I'm sure she'll be watching.
Well, it's payday. No, Lillie, if you look at Lillie, I think hopefully you think you're preferred, and I know I do. And she's been a great asset to our team for a long time, and she was working at the Meadowlands when we found her and we stole her, and she was with us a long time. And Jeff, she really did a great job with Jeff, and she was a great team member, and we have nothing but fond memories. And I'm happy, she's enjoying her retirement. She's down in Georgia, but we keep coming to come back to the sales, and people love seeing her. And she's just a charming lady, a beautiful lady, and I'm happy to have her on our team, and I'm happy she keeps coming back for sure.
Well, I really enjoyed myself in Lexington. Thanks for having us here, and we can report on all the excitement that happens during this Kentucky week.
Yeah, no, I think it's important. Like I've been saying, it's important for the whole industry and to have the racing down here. But my final shout out to all the consigners. I mean, they work with us throughout the year when we go to the farms and we look at them, and then we get into the pedigrees, and they're very cooperative. They're very professional, and we're happy that they choose us to sell their yearlings, and from the buyers, it's a great week for the people to come down. We had a little bit of a hurricane to start off, but we got through it. It's a distant memory now, and just on behalf of everybody here at the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale, auctioneers did a great job. The staff here at Phasic Tipping does a great job, and it's a great place to hang out for a week, and we're happy that we're able to continue success and have great, strong sales for the breeders, and more importantly, produce champions on the track, and that's why people come back here.
Absolutely. Thank you again, and I guess I'll see you in Harrisburg.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
I have so enjoyed being here in Lexington during this week covering the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale. Thank you guys for watching, and remember, for complete coverage, we want you to go to harnessracingupdate.com. I'm Heather Vitale, signing off. We'll see you in the winner's circle.